It's time to get into the Netflix YouTube business. Now, Netflix is entering the podcast space. Now, why would Netflix enter the podcast space? I know you're probably asking yourself, why would Netflix do that? YouTube has 1 billion creators. Netflix has 1 billion programs. And now they're acquiring more programming. I know it's early for some, but it's right on time for others. But you need to hear this because it's vital. If you're a content creator, this is going to create basically, if you're trying to create a podcast show or a show of meaning, this is going to work for you. Like, this is something that's going to intrigue you. You're going to be so enamored by what's going on that you're going to be like, yes, this is what I need in my life. You're going to be so charged. You're going to be pumped up. That's how much it's going to mean to you when it's all said and done. You're going to be charged. Because now it's just another avenue for you to make some money if you're somebody who requires to make a lot of money. And podcasting is just another place or platform to where you can go for your content. Now, they did a $200 million deal with iHeartRadio, and this deal is supposed to launch like millions of dollars and bring all this revenue into the program, when in reality, it hasn't been doing with its job at all. It's actually been causing more division than actual unity, as YouTube has become this dismal place where hate begots more hate. There's so much going on that it's become so problematic for other people to put all of it into perspective. Netflix was losing. They were paying so much money out because the advertisement revenue is like 34 or 35 billion in ad revenue money at YouTube. And it's about 35 billion, or might be like less on Netflix. But it's close. But it's like billions of viewers. But the thing is YouTube got the majority of the sponsors than Netflix. They have way more people and subscribers on Netflix because YouTube is free content. Netflix isn't. It's a paid subscription. So you're going to have all of these creators on YouTube and a lot of people who are on, yes, so a lot of people who are on Netflix, they have to pay. Now, who is willing to pay to watch these podcasts that they were watching for free? Now, some will say the Breakfast Club is the best thing going out of all the stuff they got there, right? Oh, the Breakfast Club, the Breakfast Club, the Breakfast Club. Okay. Let's tackle that. LeBron's not back. He's just been playing the Grizzlies and the Pelicans. Now, let's tackle this thing here. Here's the problem. And I want to be very clear about it, because I love how they tell me I'm wrong when I'm right. And they know I'm right. There's so much going on with analytics and data syncing up. And it's been a lot of controversy with how other people are proceeding when it comes to dealing with ideals and other like creators, like content creators who are in that space of, making the right decisions. Now, you're forced to be in a situation that is revenue generates and want and demand, and people want to see what things are going to look like. So is Netflix, who have a channel on on YouTube as well, even though they're competing with YouTube now because they're entering a podcast space. The dynamics can shift a bit and go in a direction that many people just don't understand. And when you don't understand something, you're constantly on a course to repeat it. Now, here's the news, right? This Netflix deal can go either way. And the reason it can go either way is you pretty much bundle everything, right? And when you bundle it and got everybody in there singing to their own tune and doing things that don't really measure up, a lot of people watch a lot of YouTube because of the availability. So if you're watching Netflix, you're paying for it. So something that is free versus something you're paying for is entirely different. So for content creators, is their content good enough that the people are willing to pay for it? And you're going to see where a lot of people truly scale in the general public. For example, Rory and Maul. How many people are actually willing to pay to see Rory and Maul? If you wasn't for free, you probably wouldn't even watch Rory and Maul. I'm just saying, they have some people that will follow them probably, but the majority, no. So are you willing to pay to see Rory and Maul? And you got a Netflix subscription already. Okay. But if Netflix subscribers are intrigued to go over and watch Rory and Maul on Netflix, and will they be missed if they're not on YouTube? Now, from what I saw in the contract, it was like they said the exclusive video content. So that meant that Rory and Maul, iHeartRadio, all of those shows, they had to sign over their IP address to Netflix. So Netflix is going to own creative control, visual and audio rights. Now, what this doesn't mean is that they won't put up short videos on YouTube. They didn't say that. They were talking about full exclusive interviews, like the whole long thing. Not putting up shorts on YouTube. Oh, we're still going to do that. It's a way of marketing it. But they can come there, and that way everybody win-win. YouTube get their hits, we get the marketing and promotion. They go to Netflix, watch the show. Now, here's the pressure. You forced Roy and Maul to have to adjust to be great. Now there's no nights off. Roy and Maul them gotta be outstanding. Who the, who the hell going to school with it? Oh, okay. I didn't know it was damn. It is 7 in the morning. But you forced Roy and Maul to be great now. That's right. They gotta be exceptional. They can't have no nights off. They gotta try to break the mark. And now you got less viewership than what you have on YouTube. And if those people were watching you for free, what do you think these people are going to do? Well, this is to try to get into the YouTube space. This could be great for some creators who want to move into that space. That's freed up a lot of money for a lot of creators on YouTube. But more politics, more bullshit. Here's the narratives. New rules, new changes, new adjustments, new people they're trying to promote, new Every basketball player's got a podcast now. And they keep thinking this is the way to get to the money. Not all podcasters are great and not all podcasters are making money. It becomes tiresome. You're paying people for things that you're like, wait, I'm not even making any money yet and I'm paying people? Yes, you're paying people. So now all of these dynamics are not panning out and people are turning around, turning their head, pointing at each other. It's somebody else's fault. It's never their fault. Sound familiar, doesn't it? So now, with all of these narratives playing out the way they are, big pharma, all of this money that's going around, people with hedge funds, they're investing it, and they're creating these content, buying these studios, and they're sending movies directly to streaming. Who's going to Netflix for podcast shows? Now, I understand why they want to get into space because of the watch hours and the time they've spent on there. You can market other shows, TV shows on Netflix. But the IP address is owned by Netflix. So they're paying you for access to your IP address. Is that really productive for you? Is that really the goal? Is that really success? Depends on the goal of the creator. If your dream is to own something and build it till it becomes something of so much value that you will be a fool to get rid of it, then of course. Yes, some of the content on Netflix is there. So the thing is that they're now challenging Netflix. I mean, YouTube. YouTube is pretty much laughing at the situation because they're like, you can go there all you want. The money is here. Netflix will pay you the money for the attention. Like when they bought Cobra Kai from YouTube. YouTube was then YouTube Red before it became premium. But they one of the shows that they owned and had was Cobra Kai, the first 2 seasons. They wanted no smoke with none of those guys at the time. You see, you got to understand that when there are dynamics that are put in place, the entertainment industry changes. Of course you don't. You see, these people know that what they do is essential. Oh yeah, you can't. Come on. Really? That's like TMZ saying we're gonna make a podcast show. We're gonna put out podcast shows, and now we're gonna have stuff exclusively on. We're gonna have it exclusively on the show. That's what they want to do. Because look, if you have something that is 100% authentic, let's say, no, what you're buying is something that's unique. That's what your that's what your purchase power is. So your purchase power is for something rather unique. Right. Everybody wants that buying power. They want that success. They want that moment. I'm not sure if Netflix even understands what's going on. Not in full. Like they know the basics. They know what's on the surface level. They're not at the core of anything. In the beginning, it's gonna be good for you, but let's say your numbers is not performing well. What happens then in this deal? What say you want to try something and Netflix says no? They own all the content, and now your money's looking funny. Now you want to go back to YouTube, but you can't because you're in a bulk deal that basically have you stuck. And if Netflix saying, "Hey, you got to use our people. We're gonna bring our people to control the cameras, the studio. We're gonna move you here. We're gonna do this and that." Now, if you get to control your staff and everything, and you didn't give up all say, and they just got visual and audio rights, then you might be able to survive for a minute or two. But you got to understand something, that this game isn't a game. It's rather unique because all of the parties involved, the main objective of the goals is to take everything that you have. That's what they want. They want to take everything that you have. And if they can't get away with taking everything that you have, then they don't want anything to do with you. They want to be able to make money, have people on Netflix. Stranger Things, man, it was like it almost crashed Netflix. Everybody was watching Stranger Things. No matter how terrible it was, they just wanted to see it come to the conclusion. So now it came to its conclusion, and now everybody's, got their head up their ass and talking mad shit. Now, granted, there are a lot of people out there who's not gonna like a lot of things that transpire. That's called life. But I don't know why you leave YouTube when you had full ownership of everything and you take this deal that seems too good to be true. Well, normally when you see a deal that looks too good to be true, it's because mostly to other times that you think of, it is. The deal is too good to be true. And you look at it and go, yeah, this does seem too good to be true. I'm not liking this. And when you get to that dynamic, then you go to the other dynamic and said, all right, now that I don't like this, what's next? There are several people who take different approaches. Yes, change is inevitable. But you have to understand something. Netflix is throwing money at the problem. Wasn't it Aaron Sorkin who made the TV shows and all this? YouTube pays $0 million to Joe Rogan to go in and distract you for hours, right? And they don't have to. They paying hundreds of millions of dollars for Sorkin and getting zero back in return. But everybody's watching Joe Rogan for free every day on YouTube, right? So Joe Rogan has the #1 podcast show in the world, right? Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club. Let's see what they had. Let's see what they had on YouTube. Let's just see it for a minute. The Breakfast Club. And they take me to the movie. Isn't that something? Okay, there it is. The 105. All right. Let's take a look at the Breakfast Club. Now, they have 6 million subscribers. 6 million. They got the TikTok. They have the Breakfast Club AM. $15 years, right? Do they have their most popular stuff here? Created playlists. Mm. Okay. I guess I gotta be on the PC and do it. So let me try it on the PC. See what happens. Because here it doesn't work. All right. Oh yeah, my OJ Simpson video is up on my Patreon. So y'all should check that out. Let me see. The Breakfast Club 105. Okay, pull it up on the PC. All right, I got it pulled up here. We got the latest. Okay, there we go. Full shows, most popular. Let's go. So the most popular show they got that's on video is Birdman going off on the Breakfast Club. Stop playing with my name. So let's take a look. That's 9 years ago, 6 years, 7 years ago. So as you're seeing, there's nothing recent on the Breakfast Club that's in its top. It's 4 years ago. That's 4 years. Okay, this is 3 years ago. That's the closest thing, Dr. Umar. And that's at 4 million. So you're not seeing anything of recent. Okay, there it is. A Candace one was 1 year ago, 4 million. So it's 4 million like their highest, like what they're doing right now. That was just an anomaly. Nothing of stature right now. Nothing new. And we're going lower now. We're in the 2 millions, and we still haven't got to the core of where they're at today. You see what I'm saying? And we're at the 2 million mark. So here it is. We're at the 1 million mark, and everything is still 8 and 9 years away. Here it is. Somebody, Cam, did an interview with Horsepower, did 1.7 million views, and that was 2 months ago. Other than that, we still are in here not seeing the numbers grow or go anywhere. We're not seeing any movement. So, if you're not seeing the movement, you're not seeing the traction, you're not seeing the numbers go up, this Netflix deal is going to look a little spotty. And what happens when you're not hitting the marks? When the show don't go, then what happens? What happens when the show no longer go? Mm-hmm. Well, when you do things and it start to add up, their full shows are not registering the numbers. So right now, one of their biggest shows is 400,000 views. 412, that was Eric Sermon. That was 3 weeks ago. Now, they've been doing 100,000, almost 200,000 views. So it's like, okay, those aren't really big numbers. And you're on a Netflix deal? Hmm. And you guys are the biggest platform out of all the shows that did it because you guys are actually on radio. Yeah, it makes zero sense. Mm. Well, let's say Roy and Maul. Whole show they did yesterday did 31,000 views. That's a whole show. The other show they did 31,000 views. Then they did 36,000 on the wrap up. So their viewership is down so low. 52,000 was the highest they did. They're not even cracking 100,000 for a whole show on Rory and Maul. So they don't even crack 100,000 views for their whole program of their show. I don't think the money dried up on YouTube at all. I think the situation changed with them is that you have bigger responsibilities. You have to pay a staff. You have to pay all these other people. That's why they had to let certain people go because they have certain lifestyles they got to lead and things that they got to pay for, the cameras, the studio. All of these things are expenses, and those expenses come every month. So now, well, when you negotiate your own deals, then you can, you can navigate how you want to go. Right. You got the thumbnail person you paying. You have the person that's editing and doing the shorts. I just don't see the Netflix podcast thing being a win-win. I just don't see anybody going to Netflix and really caring about clicking on the Breakfast Club. The people who watch the Breakfast Club watch the Breakfast Club because it's free. If you tell them they had to pay for it, they're gonna be, nah, I'm good. Roy and Maul, shit, it's free and people still ain't watching it. So imagine now you want people to pay money for Roy and Maul. It's like they're not gonna do that. Then you have other dynamics keep popping up. Like, okay, well, you don't like Roy and Maul, maybe you like these dudes. Maybe like, who are they? Don't know them, don't like them either. So you get to watch them for free on YouTube. So what I think Netflix is gonna do is put short videos of Roy and Maul and advertise them on YouTube and use YouTube as the hub to push their podcast shows. See, Netflix have less subscribers than YouTube because even though Netflix is paid and that's how they use the subscription money, Netflix got like 32 billion in ad revenue. So when people said the money ain't there in YouTube, yeah, it is. It's there. But to take that route they took was like, really? Hmm. Strange. A lot of weirdo activity. I don't see everybody running to Netflix. Would I take the Netflix deal? Probably not. Depends on how it's structured. Joe Budden averages about 200,000 plus 300,000 a video. So his average is about 300K for a episode of Joe Budden podcast. The average is about 300K. So let's say they did a show and it just sucked completely. Worst show they ever did, right? When you start going in that direction, it's already changed. It's already different. It's already moving in a different light or feel. And it's done. At that point, it's all done. Now his pod wives and whatever that crap is, that average probably like 150,000. So both shows totally just smashes everything they've done on the platform. Hmm. No, I don't like the Joe Budden podcast. I think it's trash. The best it's ever been is when it had Roy and Maul. So I don't know about its numbers or anything else, but they're always going to fabricate and push the numbers on the show. And the only thing that keeps Joe afloat is his Patreon deal. He's got a contract with Patreon to put out the content so they can promote it. And so far, that has been the gist of everything, right? And when other people can't make original content, like me, I can make original content. Most podcast shows are not good at original content. What do I mean by original content? Well, it moves like this, buddy. When we start talking about the best of the best and who need to do this and who ain't doing what, this is what we're talking about. So when we start talking about original content, that means can you turn on the video, hit the play button, people are tuning in just to watch you. You see, most of these people don't have it like that. They can't function in that reality. What they function is, they gotta have a guest. They gotta have a somebody that can bring the attention to their podcast show. That's why, like, some of these shows, they have guests every week because they're not interesting enough for you to listen to them by themselves. So they gotta have a guest. Like Gilbert Arenas decided to buy his way to the top. And it's like, it's an expensive way to do it, but, seems like it might cash out for him. But who knows? Why Corey Holcomb won't get one of those big deals like Charlamagne? Oh, that's pretty obvious. That's pretty obvious. Corey is never going to get a deal like that because Corey is too controversial and he's truthful and he wants to have a voice. He ain't going to be able to have his voice and be on Netflix. But with something like this, it might turn around. They might offer 5150 a deal. But when he talking about Backdooria and all of this, and then you got all the Backdooria over there at Netflix. Why do you think Jay-Z got cut out of the Diddy documentary? You think that was an accident? People that work there at Netflix cut all that stuff out. They cut Jay-Z name out of that documentary. Because you best believe, if you're going to say Jay-Z's name in there with Diddy in that doc, you was going to have problems with Roc Nation, who has relationships there, and knew they was building that documentary and what it was going to show. And they like, hey, you better keep me out of it. Leonardo Parker. Yeah, Leonardo Parker, who work at Netflix. His wife is Leandria, what's that? Diodoro or whatever. She's Filipino. How Dave that's Dave Chappelle. See, Dave Chappelle is different. Dave did not come up with the black community. He never did. He didn't come through the black comedy route. He came in with Neil Brennan and the white guys. He didn't come in with the brothers. He was in San Francisco, making his bones out there. He was hanging out with white guys from Ohio. He was not, he reminds you of the black suburbanite. Like, he told you guys, y'all didn't want to believe him when he said, I'm not from the hood. He was trying to tell you he's not from the hood. People didn't want to believe him, but he was telling you all the truth. Dave Chappelle is not from the hood. Thanks for the super chats. I appreciate that. Don't forget, you can also hit up my Cash App, which is Carceno, K-A-R-C-E-N-O. Yeah, so those people at Netflix, they know what they're doing. They're trying to get this war going with YouTube so that they can start making changes to alter the game and alter success and alter all these moments that they feel is essential. No, they don't. They have no plans of doing that. I hate to break your heart, but no, they have no plans of doing that. Sounds interesting, but no. Once again, they have no plans to make those type of moves, man. It's just, you're dealing with people that are on a higher thinking plane than what everybody else is. Netflix has this thing of throw money at it. Two different structures. YouTube make a killing off of Joe Rogan for free. They don't have to pay Joe Rogan anything. They run their ads on the Joe Rogan podcast, and that is viewed by like numerous of people worldwide. So the main problems that people are abreast with is dealing with the scenarios that they have to go by. How many times have you seen all of these people talking about the best, and oh, this is the best I ever had, this is the best time, oh, these are the best people, and for some weird reason all of these dynamics aren't being met? It just doesn't make any sense. Why would, like, this wouldn't make the criteria? Why wouldn't this make the criteria? Why are all these people making demands that don't match up? Like, the money's not adding up. So Netflix is gonna pay all this money, and then it's gonna dry out. It's not gonna be successful. I'm not saying, I just don't see it being profitable. You know, how can it be profitable? Godfrey? I remember seeing Godfrey, but Godfrey didn't come up like that. See, Dave Chappelle had the Chappelle show, and Netflix wanted to buy the Chappelle show, which they did, and they didn't want to mess up a deal that they was going to do with Dave for $50 million. They paid him way more than that for Netflix deals. And then they re-upped with him after he had the Sticks and Stones, because the first two did some crazy numbers, but they kind of was mid. But Sticks and Stones, he knocked it out the park. And once he did that, they came with another big bag, everything Dave Chappelle. And then the streaming numbers was out this world. So they said, keep playing this man all the millions he needed in his life, and don't look back. Oh, the flower girl. You see, the flower girl name was, they called her the flower girl. What was her name? Candace, or Cynthia. Okay, there it is, Cynthia. She used to do or one of that, and she was doing all the different flowers and flower arrangements, and this is the flower of this is the flower of joy, this is the flower of this. And she had all these flowers, right? So everybody was so captivated with these flowers she was bringing out. So they was like, man, these flower things is cool. Old girls with them flowers, yo. So they was happy about these flowers. Then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose, because the flowers is not equaling any of the stuff that they were talking about. None of this is coming to fruition. So people got really pissed off, and they start saying, okay, I see we got a problem here. So once they discovered they had a problem, they wanted to address it like anybody else would, right? So she's on TikTok, she's doing the flower arrangements and all of this stuff, and she started shouting out a sponsor for the company, and Twitch didn't like it, and then Netflix said that this company, I mean not Netflix, but YouTube said the company that she was representing, they did something with, they were sponsored by some people who tested on animals, and you know, it became a whole different thing, right? Because people need something to fuss about. So she ended up losing a lot of revenue and was coming back to YouTube strong when she was just going to be on Twitch. But she never got back to the spot of fame where she was before. No, it's a lot of people who believe in that. They believe in tyranny, and they believe in the acts of wicked men, and they start putting themselves on a plateau to do certain things to people that don't normally register or make any sense to do at all. I say initially they're gonna say, "Oh, we'll see how this works," but let's see how the Breakfast Club love having lower viewership. Let's see how, well, Roy and Maul, anything is a blessing for them at this point, because it's basically like they're non-existent anyway. I mean, damn, I'm doing better numbers than their whole show. And they got studio, marketing, production, and they got a whole show. It's like they getting millions of dollars though. You're getting millions of dollars to get 31,000 views. Seems like somebody don't have their business right. But hey, that's not my business to go down. It's theirs. No, absolutely. I mean, if they offered me, they said, if Netflix offered you millions of dollars, or you're just gonna stay on YouTube, which one would you take? You know, it depends on the terms. See, that's where I think a lot of you guys misunderstand me and probably everything that I talk about. I'm speaking about terms. You gotta have the right terms in the contract. The deal has to make sense. If you don't have those terms, if the deals are not adding up, it's not making sense. Like, let's say if they want to control my IP, I'm gonna have a problem with that. I'm not gonna be okay with them owning my IP address. Those are just the facts. They say, well, they just want to own your visuals, but your audio can go on Spotify and, you know, and everywhere else. I'm like, good, that's cool. I appreciate that, but still, you know, I want, you know, everything that's mine to be mine. I don't want to give up anything I don't have to give up. Do I know? I know of JoJo Capone. I don't know him personally. He didn't live